I want you to imagine something for a second. You are sitting at your desk, maybe sipping your morning coffee, and your phone lights up.
Right.
You get a frantic video call from your boss or maybe a panicked FaceTime from a loved one, and you answer it.
Yeah, as anyone naturally would.
Exactly. And the face on the screen, the exact cadence of their voice, the sheer urgency in their tone, I mean, it is all perfectly them. You don't even question it.
Your heart rate spikes immediately.
Yeah, you are ready to do whatever they ask. But what you are actually looking at or listening to is a completely synthetic clone. It's a digital puppet, basically, generated in real time from just 3 seconds of scraped audio using software tools that cost the attacker less than, like, a fast food burger.
It is a visceral, terrifying scenario. And the reality we have to face today is that this is no longer science fiction. It's not even a rare edge case anymore.
No, not at all.
We have officially moved from human identity being this fixed biological reality to something entirely malleable.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we are unpacking the synthetic identity economy. Over the past week, I've been wading through this massive stack of cybersecurity intelligence reports.
Oh yeah, it's a heavy stack today.
It really is. We're talking deep dive forensics from Zero Threat, Cybel, Bright Defense, ID.me, and Software Seni. Plus, we've pulled historical privacy analyses from Recast and every CRS report just to figure out how we actually got here.
Because context is everything with this stuff.
Exactly. Together, we are going to explore how human identity morphed from a biological certainty into this liquid, tradable $5 commodity.
A $5 commodity. Let that sink in.
Right. Okay, let's unpack this, because we hear the word deepfake thrown around every single day, right? Usually as a buzzword for, I don't know, a funny internet video or a meme.
Yeah, the Pope in a puffer jacket kind of stuff.
Yes, exactly. But according to our sources, this isn't just a tech trend anymore. It is a fully industrialized trillion-dollar global fraud crisis.
Yeah.
So how exactly did a sci-fi concept turn into that?
Well, what's fascinating here is that to understand the $1 trillion AI fraud problem of 2026, we actually have to travel back a bit. We have to look at the early 2000s.
Wait, really? The early 2000s?
Yeah, the foundation for today's crisis wasn't built by, hackers in a basement somewhere.
Yeah.
It was unintentionally laid by two completely different, totally legitimate industries.
Okay. Which ones?
Corporate data brokerage and Hollywood.
Wait, hold on. Data brokers and Hollywood. How do those two connect?
I know, it sounds weird. But let's start with the data brokers. Between roughly 2000 and 2010, we entered this era of programmable identity. Companies like ChoicePoint and LexisNexis built billion-dollar empires by treating human identity as just a collection of static data points.
Like your social security number, that kind of thing?
Exactly. Your SSN, your address history, your credit score, your mother's maiden name. They gathered all of these static ingredients, bundled them into massive databases, and sold them to legitimate businesses and government agencies for background checks.
So they basically turned our entire lives into rows on a spreadsheet.
Precisely. And cyber criminals recognized the immense value of those centralized spreadsheets almost immediately. I mean, the 2005 card systems breach, and especially the 2006 ChoicePoint scandal, proved this.
I vaguely remember the ChoicePoint one. That was huge.
It was massive. And in the ChoicePoint case, a criminal ring didn't even use sophisticated malware. They literally just created sham business accounts to pass basic credential checks.
Oh, wow. They just pretended to be a business.
Yeah, they logged into the system right through the front door and walked away with the personal records of 145,000 people. It proved that our digital infrastructure, the very way we verified people, was incredibly vulnerable.
Okay, so that's the data side. The criminals figured out how to steal the basic facts of who we are. But where does Hollywood come in?
Well, while data brokers were digitizing your paperwork, Hollywood was digitizing the human body.
Oh, interesting.
They were perfecting what the industry called synthespians. Think about blockbuster movies from that era, like The Lord of the Rings with the character Gollum or James Cameron's Avatar.
Right, the blue aliens.
Exactly. They pioneered optical motion capture. Actors wore those tight suits covered in little reflective reference dots, and massive computers mapped their physical, human movement onto digital skeletons.
Okay, I think I'm tracking this. If we use a metaphor here, the early 2000s data brokers essentially built the puppet.
Yes.
They gave us the identity data, the names, the numbers, and then Hollywood CGI built the strings, figuring out how to actually animate a digital body and make it move like a human.
That's a perfect way to put it.
Well, hold on. Those Hollywood effects cost hundreds of millions of dollars. I mean, they required massive freezing cold server farms and armies of animators working frame by frame. How does that technology shrink down to fit onto a stammer's smartphone?
And that is the multi-million-dollar question right there. The turning point arrived in 2014 with a breakthrough in machine learning called GANs, Generative Adversarial Networks.
Okay, GANs.
This is the crucial mechanism that changed everything. Because instead of an animator manually moving a digital skeleton, a GAN pits two artificial neural networks against each other in this relentless high-speed game of cat and mouse.
Break that down for me. What do you mean by cat and mouse?
Sure. Imagine an art forger and an art detective.
Okay.
The forger, the generator network, tries to paint a fake Monet. The detective, the discriminator network, looks at it and says, no, the brushstrokes are wrong here and here. It's a fake.
So it spots the flaws.
Right. So the forger tries again, fixing those specific brushstrokes. The detective catches a different flaw. And they battle it out millions of times an hour just learning from each other.
Oh, wow.
Eventually, the forger gets so incredibly good that the detective can no longer tell the difference between the fake Monet and the real one.
So the AI is practically teaching itself how to be perfectly photorealistic.
Exactly. GNs automated the creation of reality. They finally bridged the gap between that stolen static data and real-time photorealism. And because the AI was doing the heavy lifting, it required a mere fraction of the computing power of traditional Hollywood CGI.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though, because that technological leap led directly to a total collapse of the cost barrier.
Completely collapsed it.
Fraud no longer requires a sophisticated hacker typing green code on a black screen. It just requires a monthly subscription. The cybersecurity reports we looked at outline a booming industry called Deepfake-as-a-Service, or DAAS. It's the ultimate commoditization of cybercrime.
It really is. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it mirrors exactly what happened with database hacking in the late 2000s.
How so?
Well, remember back in the day when hacking a database meant you needed to understand complex code.
Yeah.
You had to execute a SQL injection.
Right, which sounds super technical.
It was. It meant literally typing malicious database commands into a standard website login box just to trick the system into coughing up passwords. It took serious technical skill. But then someone packaged that code into simple point-and-click software tools.
Oh, and suddenly anyone can do it.
Exactly. Deepfakes have followed the exact same trajectory. The economics in 2026 are simply staggering. On dark web marketplaces like Bryant's Club, a basic synthetic identity kit costs just $5.
$5? I mean, you can barely buy a cup of coffee for $5. What does a scammer actually get for that?
For a $5 bill, you get a fully minted, untraceable digital person. The kit includes an AI-generated face of someone who does not exist anywhere in the physical world.
So it won't pop up on a reverse image search?
Nope. It includes a perfectly cloned voice sample and a completely fabricated, incredibly detailed backstory. And it's backed by digitally forged, high-resolution documents.
Like fake IDs?
Yeah, utility bills, bank statements, even passports that will easily pass basic optical scans, all for $5.
But the criminals don't just stop at buying the identity. Our sources show that for $30 to $200 a month, they subscribe to dark LLMs platforms with names like FraudGPT.
Right.
And from what I understand, these are essentially large language models, very much like the helpful AI chatbots you use every day to write emails or summarize articles, but with a terrifying twist.
A very terrifying twist. They are enterprise-grade AI models, but all the ethical safety guardrails have been deliberately ripped out.
Jeez.
If you ask a standard public AI to write a phishing email, it will refuse. It'll say it violates its policies. If you ask FraudGPT, it will literally ask you what psychological triggers you want to exploit in the target.
It's essentially the Netflix of cybercrime. I mean, these dark web services have customer support desks, they push regular software updates, they have tiered pricing, and the output is flawless. The reports show that AI-generated phishing emails achieve a massive 54% click-through rate.
54%.
Compare that to just 12% for manual, human-written phishing. The old advice we all got, the whole look for bad spelling and grammar to spot a scam thing.
Oh, that is completely dead.
Entirely dead. The dark LLMs write with perfect corporate polish. They don't make typos. And the voice cloning. It used to require hours of crisp audio. The data now shows it requires only 3 seconds of audio to achieve an 85% acoustic match to your voice.
Just 3 seconds. Think about how much your voice is out there.
Right.
If you have ever posted video online, spoken on a podcast, given a presentation, or even just left a standard voicemail greeting on your phone, your voice can be cloned.
Oh.
And the attacker doesn't even have to do the talking. The dark LLM can be instructed to generate a script, and it speaks that script using your cloned voice, perfectly matching your unique cadence, your pauses, and your vocabulary.
Okay, if anyone with $5 and a Telegram account can buy an identity and sound exactly like you, what happens when they aim these tools at multi-billion-dollar corporations? Because we aren't just talking about tricking someone out of a $50 gift card anymore.
No. When they aim these tools at corporate targets, the financial devastation is breathtaking. Because we are no longer talking about sending an email and passively phishing for passwords. We are talking about live, real-time video infiltration.
Live video?
Yes. The most chilling example we have is the January 2024 Air Up heist. A finance worker at a multinational engineering firm in Hong Kong authorized 15 separate wire transfers totaling $25.6 million in a single day.
$25.6 million.
Huh?
I have to pause you there. How does a highly trained finance worker, someone whose entire job is risk management, just hand over $25 million?
Because they didn't just receive an email. They were invited to a live interactive video conference. Put yourself in this employee's shoes for a second. You click the Zoom link. You join the call. You look at the screen and you see your chief financial officer. You see several of your close colleagues. Everyone looks real, everyone sounds real, and they're all discussing a highly confidential, urgent financial transaction.
Okay, so it looks like a normal Tuesday meeting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the employee was the only actual biological human being on that call.
Oh my God.
Every other participant was a sophisticated, real-time deepfake imposter rendered on the fly.
That is mind-bending. But wait, if attackers are actively bypassing live video meetings with real-time deepfake overlays, how do traditional security checks stand a chance? We all rely on KBA knowledge-based authentication, those security questions like your mother's maiden name or the street you grew up on.
Right.
Or OTPs, those one-time password text codes we get. Why didn't those stop the Arab heist?
They don't stand a chance because they're solving the wrong problem entirely. Those tools are designed to stop a machine from brute forcing a login.
Oh.
But by the time a system requests an OTP or asks a security question, the human target has already been socially engineered into approving the action.
Oh, I see.
Think about the social pressure of a video call where your CFO is staring right at you, demanding you process the wire. The attacker doesn't need to hack the authentication system. They just use the deepfake to convince the authorized user you to willingly type in the OTP for them.
The human becomes the vulnerability.
Exactly.
And the threat has evolved far beyond stealing wire transfers. It has moved into systemic employment fraud. The ID.me intelligence report, we looked at details how the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, North Korea, has actually industrialized a scheme to infiltrate the U.S. job market.
This is wild.
Operatives are using these synthetic identity kits, combined with real-time face swap overlays, to pass remote job interviews at Fortune 500 tech companies.
Yes. They apply for remote IT and software development roles. They show up on the video interview. The overlay ensures they look exactly like the person on the forged resume.
And the voice clone ensures they sound like them.
Exactly. And they pass the technical interviews. Sometimes they even use a proxy setup, where a highly skilled programmer off-camera is actually typing the code while the deepfake persona acts as the face of the operation.
Wait, how do they handle the lag? Wouldn't the video look glitchy?
They manage the slight video rendering delays seamlessly by just claiming they have bad internet.
That is so simple, but so effective, and it's incredibly lucrative. The estimates show the scheme generates between $250 million to $600 million annually, directly funding the North Korean regime's weapons programs.
And this illustrates a critical vulnerability we call inherited identity.
Inherited identity.
Yeah, our entire corporate and financial architecture assumes that if you pass Step A, the video interview, you are inherently safe for Step B, accessing the servers.
I get it.
When a synthetic identity bypasses that initial human screening, that fraudulent persona inherits all the trust, the credentials, and the access of a real employee. They get the keys to the kingdom: proprietary source code, internal networks, sensitive customer data, everything.
So what does this all mean? The sheer scale of this is staggering. We've seen a 2,137% increase in deepfake fraud over the last 3 years alone. But it isn't just about emptying corporate bank accounts or bypassing HR departments. This erosion of truth is tearing at the fundamental fabric of our society, our politics, and our personal safety.
You're absolutely right. While the corporate heists make the big headlines, a societal crisis is perhaps the most devastating. Look at the proliferation of non-consensual intimate imagery, or NCII, Current data indicates that 96 to 98% of all deepfake content online is explicit in nature, and 99 to 100% of the victims are female.
That is awful. And we aren't just talking about celebrities anymore.
No, not at all. The barrier to generating this content is now so low, remember, just $5 and a single photograph, that it is being weaponized against everyday people. It's being used for extortion and harassment everywhere, from local middle schools and high schools where students are targeting their classmates, all the way up to the workplace.
And then there is the political impact. And to be clear, we are just impartially reporting what's in the intelligence briefs here. In just the third quarter of 2025 alone, analysts recorded 482 politically motivated deepfake incidents.
It's a global issue.
It really is. We saw the deepfaked robocall of President Biden in New Hampshire urging people not to vote. That entire campaign cost the attacker roughly $1 and took 20 minutes to generate.
Unbelievable.
There were over 100 fake video ads impersonating UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak flooding social media. We saw international incidents in Romania and Canada where politicians were deepfaked to promote cryptocurrency scams to their constituents.
And this raises an important question about the long-term sociological damage. There is a concept that analysts refer to as the liar's dividend.
The liar's dividend? What is that?
It's incredibly dangerous because the general public now knows that hyper-realistic deepfakes exist and that they are cheap and everywhere. Actual politicians and public figures can simply dismiss authentic, highly damaging evidence as probable fakes.
Oh, wow. So if a real recording leaks of a public figure doing or saying something terrible, they don't even have to defend it anymore. They just shrug and claim it was AI generated.
Precisely. The deepfake economy doesn't just create fake evidence, it destroys the credibility of real evidence. It creates a complete crisis of knowing. When seeing is no longer believing, the foundation of democratic accountability starts to crumble.
Which brings us to the inevitable question. How do we rebuild trust in a digital society? Are governments or tech companies stepping in to actually do anything about this, or are we entirely on our own?
Well, lawmakers and technologists are absolutely racing to build defensive architectures, but they are slamming into severe constitutional and technical roadblocks.
Okay, let's look at the law first.
Right. At the federal level in the U.S., the Take I Down Act became law in May 2025. It forces online platforms to remove non-consensual intimate imagery within 48 hours of being notified. Furthermore, the Senate passed the Defiance Act in early 2026, which allows victims to civilly sue the creators of these deepfakes for up to $250,000 in damages.
But those laws are facing massive friction, right? Civil liberties groups like the Electronic Frontier Foundation have raised serious alarms. And again, just objectively looking at their arguments, they say that the Take I Down Act relies on very vague language.
Yes, that's their main concern.
They worry it could be abused by bad faith actors to censor legitimate protected speech or satire, similar to how basic copyright takedown notices are weaponized today to silence critics. And at the state level, laws trying to regulate election deepfakes, like California's AB 2839, have faced federal injunctions. The courts are incredibly skeptical of sweeping prohibitions on political speech, even when AI is involved, because of the First Amendment.
And that's the core issue. The law moves slowly, and it requires incredible nuance, which is why the tech industry is trying to solve the problem with software, specifically with provenance. The major initiative right now is C2PA, which stands for Content Credentials. Think of it as a cryptographically signed metadata standard.
Let's break that down. Cryptographically signed metadata, what does it actually look like in practice for the user?
Imagine an invisible digital wax seal. When a real camera takes a picture or a piece of software creates a graphic, it attaches this invisible seal to the file. That seal proves exactly what device created the image, when it was made, and importantly, it records every single edit made to that file.
Oh, nice.
If anyone tries to tamper with the image or strip the data, the wax seal shatters, and you know the file has been compromised.
So it's basically a digital nutrition label for content. I click a little icon on the image, and it tells me exactly what ingredients went into it, whether it was shot on a real Sony camera in London or generated by a neural network on a server in Russia. That sounds like a perfect solution.
It sounds perfect until you hit what security analysts call the integrity clash.
Ah, there's always a catch.
Always. Here is the fatal flaw. Adversarial iteration. The moment a new detector or standard is built, generative models are trained to bypass it. What happens when you have an image, and the C2PA nutrition label, the wax seal, insists it is 100% organic human because the metadata was cleverly spoofed or stripped and reapplied by a hacker.
Okay.
But simultaneously, an AI detection watermark like Google's Synthide, which analyzes the actual pixels, flags the image as AI generated.
Oh, I see. The defense systems completely disagree.
Yes, and when the systems disagree, who do you, the user, actually trust? The integrity clash proves that we cannot rely solely on software to tell us what is real anymore. The technology is just too fluid.
Wow. Okay, to synthesize the incredible journey we've been on today, human identity has officially become a liquid asset. We have moved from the early 2000s, where data brokers and hackers were trading static social security numbers on spreadsheets, to a world where criminals can buy highly convincing interactive digital puppets for just $5. The barrier to entry has completely collapsed, and the economic and societal costs are exploding.
Which means you, listening to this right now, have to fundamentally change how you navigate the digital world. You can no longer rely on your intuition or your senses.
Trust must be treated as a strict system, not an assumption.
Exactly. In your professional life, you must implement multi-channel verification. If your boss asks for an urgent wire transfer on a video call, you hang up and confirm it via a separate, trusted channel, like an internal messaging app.
And in your personal life, it's just as critical. Think about your own family text group right now. If your mom called from an unknown number, sounding panicked, saying she lost her wallet on vacation and needs you to wire money, you'd do it in a heartbeat, right?
Most people would.
That's why you need to establish a family safe word today. Make it silly like, purple dinosaur, an AI scraping her Facebook account could never guess. If they can't provide the code word on the phone, you hang up.
Exactly. You have to build manual friction back into your life.
We want to leave you with one final chilling thought to ponder as we wrap up this deep dive. Right now, as terrifying as it is, the deepfake economy still relies on human operators.
For now, yes.
A human scammer has to sit at a keyboard, buy the $5 identity kit, prompt the dark LLM, and speak through the voice clone to execute the fraud. But what happens when agentic AI fully takes the reins?
That's the next frontier.
Imagine a near future, and I mean a very near future, where autonomous AI agents run the entire scam end to end. The machine scours LinkedIn to find the perfect corporate target. It crafts the perfect psychological pretext based on your recent posts. It initiates the deepfake video call itself. It negotiates the wire transfer, answers your questions in real time, and extracts the funds all at machine speed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, scaling up to target thousands of people simultaneously with zero human intervention. When that frantic video call from your boss rings, how will we defend our reality when the criminals exploiting it are no longer human at all?